When it comes to weight loss, no two people are the same. That's why Noom builds personalized plans based on your unique psychology and biology. Take Brittany. After years of unsustainable diets, Noom helped her lose 20 pounds and keep it off.
I was definitely in a yo-yo cycle for years of just losing weight, gaining weight, and it was exhausting.
And Stephanie. She's a former D1 athlete who knew she couldn't outtrain her diet, and she lost 38 pounds.
My relationship to food before Noom was never consistent.
And Evan, he can't stand salads, but he still lost 50 pounds with Noom.
I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. Even through the pickiness, Noom taught me that building better habits builds a healthier lifestyle. I'm not doing this to get to a number. I'm doing this to feel better.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom users compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
On today's Smart 7, Kemi Badenoch is new Tory leader, Kamala leads as US election looms, and lots more. It's Monday, 4th of November, it's National Roast Dinner Day, and happy birthday, Matthew McConaughey.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Former Business Secretary Kemi Badenoch became the Conservative Party's 5th leader in as many years this weekend after Rishi Sunak formally stepped down on Friday. The ex-PM announced his plan to resign as party leader back in July, and it quickly became a two-way race to replace him between Kemi and former Immigration Secretary Robert Jenrick. But it was Kemi who came out victorious with 57% of the vote. Speaking after her victory was announced on Saturday, Kemi said it's time for a new era in the party.
Our party is critical to the success of our country. But to be heard, we have to be honest. Honest about the fact that we made mistakes. The time has come to tell the truth.
And while she's been labelled rude and abrasive by some colleagues, Shadow Culture Secretary Julia Lopez says Kemi is exactly what the public is looking for.
People want to see politicians who are straight talking. She speaks with clarity, she speaks with truth. She's already had a discussion about how she might start to change some of the ways in which she deals with people if that's necessary. But I don't know that it's necessary right now.
Nearly £50 million. That's the income the royal family received from contracts with public bodies and charities over the last year, according to a new investigation by Channel 4 and the Sunday Times. This includes rent and mooring fees paid by charities, the NHS, schools and the armed forces for buildings and land owned by the royals. A Duchy of Lancaster spokesperson insists all contracts are legitimate and meet UK regulations. But Liverpool Metro Mayor Steve Rotherham says there's questions to be asked.
It was a surprise to me that these things aren't owned by the people. There's a much wider debate about whether kings in the 21st century should be getting money from land which was taken from people in feudal times.
Former Home Office Minister Norman Baker agrees and says it's time for a revamp.
They are interested in serving themselves rather than serving the country when it comes to money. I don't even accept that duchies are private estates, which is what Charles and his cohorts always say.
There's just one day to go until the US presidential election, and things are looking up for VP Kamala Harris. While she was busy making a surprise appearance on SNL, a new Iowa poll showed her narrowly leading Trump in a state which had been all but written off as a Republican victory. Meanwhile, early voting figures also have her ahead in Wisconsin and Michigan. Trump is already making claims about voter fraud, and on Sunday he said he should never have left the White House in 2020. Political consultant and Lincoln Project co-founder Rick Wilson says Trump will need to up his game to win on Tuesday.
As of right now, if the election were held today, it would be Kamala Harris. It would be a narrow win. Given the character of the early vote, Donald Trump is going to have a very, 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 very big day on Tuesday with Election Day turnout to pull this out.
Just days after flash flooding killed more than 200 people, destroyed homes and businesses in northern Spain, the King and Queen were pelted with mud by protesters as they visited the flood-devastated area. Tuesday saw a whole year's worth of rainfall in just 8 hours in the Valencia region, sweeping away cars and bridges in Spain's deadliest natural disaster on record. Locals are angry that a flood warning emergency system wasn't put in place quickly enough, and that bad government decisions cost lives. On Sunday, people shouted murderer and shame at the royal couple, Spain's prime minister and other leaders as they walked through the town of Paiporta. This man's brother died in the floods.
We are outraged. This is a great country, but with disgusting, incompetent leaders. I don't have the strength to speak about my brother. I have no more words. I'm sorry.
Still to come on the Smart 7, all square between Man United and Chelsea, and Mariah Carey's ready for Christmas. Right after this.
When it comes to weight loss, no two people are the same. That's why Noom builds personalized plans based on your unique psychology and biology. Take Brittany. After years of unsustainable diets, Noom helped her lose 20 pounds and keep it off.
I was definitely in a yo-yo cycle for years of just losing weight, gaining weight, and it was exhausting.
And Stephanie. She's a former D1 athlete who knew she couldn't out-train her diet, and she lost 38 pounds.
My relationship to food before Noom was never consistent.
And Evan, he can't stand salads, but he still lost 50 pounds with Noom.
I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. Even through the pickiness, Noom taught me that building better habits builds a healthier lifestyle. I'm not doing this to get to a number. I'm doing this to feel better.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom users compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Welcome back. Max Verstappen's back on top for the first time in 5 months, clinching a surprise victory at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, despite starting from 17th position. He finished ahead of Alpine's Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly to gain some vital points for Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, interim Man United manager Ruud van Nistelrooy made his Premier League debut against Chelsea. He'll be replaced by Sporting CP's Ruben Amorim next week, following Erik ten Hag's sacking. Things ended 1-1 at Old Trafford, and United captain Bruno Fernandes says it's been a tough week.
Every week is challenging here at the club. It doesn't matter if you win or if you lose. Obviously, it's a different week because we all know that Erik is gone, and it's not good for anyone at the club.
Halloween's over, the Christmas countdown is on, so Mariah Carey's been dragged out of the freezer for her annual All I Want for Christmas tour. The Queen of Christmas is celebrating 30 years since gifting us with her iconic Yuletide classic. On Wednesday, she'll kick off her sleigh ride across 20 US cities for her Christmas time tour, as she tries to push it back to the top of the Billboard charts. At the AMAs, Mariah confessed she never saw her song becoming its own holiday tradition.
I think it's an amazing thing that just happened that I never could have predicted, because the song All I Want for Christmas Is You just grew and grew and slowly, though. It wasn't like an immediate thing.
Sad news this weekend as Scottish comedian Janey Godley passed away at the age of 63. Born in East Dunbartonshire in 1961, Janey started as a pub landlady before diving into stand-up in 1994. She found viral success on TikTok during the COVID-19 pandemic with her satirical voiceovers of Nicola Sturgeon's press conferences. A passionate political advocate, she began in the Conservative Party, later joined the SNP and eventually toured the UK in support of Jeremy Corbyn's Labour in 2016. That same year, she made headlines for the explicit sign she held up in protest during President Trump's arrival in Scotland. In March, Janey opened up about her terminal ovarian cancer diagnosis in a BBC documentary on her life. Here she is speaking to Lorraine about living with a terminal illness. Rest in peace, Janey.
When we see the movies, somebody with cancer has cancer, goes bald, then dies. But in real life, there's a bit in the middle, and people say things like, I could get hit with a bus tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, but I'm being chased by a bus.
All the time.
So I'm having to dodge the bus every day, and it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like I'm living as best I can.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.
How did you actually sleep last night? If it didn't feel like your very best rest, then you need to upgrade to the softest, most luxurious bedding from Boll & Branch. Their signature sheets are made from the finest 100% organic cotton and get softer with every wash. Millions of sleepers love their sheets, and right now, you can feel the difference for yourself during their biggest sales of the entire year. Hurry to bollandbranch.com to shop their best offers. Limited time only. Exclusions apply. See site for details.